Hello, everyone. I'm Leon Bibb. Many of you watching are already aware of the vital role Values in Action plays in promoting kindness, caring, and respect throughout our country. As pioneers of social emotional learning, they have forged a path and led the way to a better world for an entire generation. But where did this path begin, and where will it lead? Well, to know that story, we'll have to take you back to the beginning. "30 years ago at this home in Lyndhurst, Ohio, an idea was born that would forever change the lives and futures of Stuart and Susan Musinski, and millions of others whose lives this idea touched."
The tail end of 1992, I was losing my memory from a prescription drug reaction, and the doctor took me off cold turkey, and I went into withdrawal and got chronic fatigue syndrome. And I was in bed for nearly 2 years. And about 6 months into my illness, I saw a cognitive therapist, and he asked me, "What are the messages you're sending yourself?" And I said, "Well, I guess I'm telling myself I'm failing myself, I'm failing my family, I'm never going to be successful again." And he said, "Yeah, you've had a shock to your immune system, and in order to heal, you need to start sending yourself messages of kindness, positivity, and love." And I created this positive visualization for myself 40, 50, 60 times a day while I was in bed. I would visualize positive things. And I had this visualization experience where I pictured myself and Susan in front of a classroom of students talking about positivity, kindness, and love. In this visualization, I saw my grandmother, who was gassed in Auschwitz. She was behind barbed wire, and she said, remember that before the killing, there was love." And I just knew that we needed to call this organization Project Love. Susan's a clinical psychologist, and I said, "I think we have a new mission." And in May of 1994, we would do our first Project Love seminar. We had adult volunteers manning small groups.
Yes, they're working in a small group, like a leadership team to change the culture. But what also is happening is they're becoming role models to be the discussion leaders for the next group of students.
The program inspired us to be leaders, not just in our classroom, but in our community, and really leaders in spreading kindness throughout our community. You know, and as I've grown, both as a mother, as a wife, and as an attorney, it's really inspired me to try to pass kindness on in all that I do.
Inspired by the overwhelming response to that first seminar, Stuart and Susan moved their newly founded operation to this building in Euclid, Ohio, generously donated by the Girl Scouts of America. Here they began with hope and enthusiasm to lay the foundation that would become the national organization you see today.
In early 1995, Stuart contacted me because my son Jose had been involved with their very first Community Understanding Day, as it was called back then, looking for somebody to start working for them. And in the early days, we worked mainly with high schools.
She began her own Project Love Club and jumped right into the action by doing small things like passing out blue ribbons to students in her school to show that they actually made a difference.
I saw the need to make a difference in my school, in my community, even in my family. If I could just be nicer to one person a day, maybe they would be nicer to someone else.
I was inspired. I went to one of the Project Love events, and the message I really took away was that little acts of kindness can have a magnifying effect. It's pretty clear that kindness has guided me to where I am today. It's the pinnacle that has kind of led me to live the life I live, both professionally, personally, and I'm positive it will continue to be something that guides me forever.
I came to the district in 2007, and a big part of my early work, and it continues to be important today, is social and emotional learning practices for our kids and adults. Social emotional learning has to be done right, just like everything else. Project Love does this right.
Teachers and students made bonds and friendships from the beginning to the end, just thinking of Project Love and what they're doing. So there was definitely an improvement.
I started at Values in Action in 2006, and we were then Project Love, and we were charged with going into schools and doing workshops with all of the kids throughout Northeast Ohio. We were a team that did everything that it took to make our work in schools happen. Stuart was the one who went out and made all of the connections. Susan was the warm spirit that met with the teachers and the students, and Mary Alice was behind the scenes. We couldn't have asked for a more family-like atmosphere to work in.
That atmosphere of inclusiveness and sense of family extended well beyond the office into every program going forward. And even though the name had changed, programs had been refined and new ones added, the goal was still the same: a kinder, better, and gentler world. And there's a brief history of Values in Action. But what will their future look like? Well, I can't tell you that because the future has not been written. What I can tell you is that Values in Action will continue their hard work and dedication to create a better future for us all. 30 years ago, Stuart and Susan's dream was pie in the sky. Now, thanks to kind folks like you, the sky is the limit. Here's to the next 30 years.